All right. Hello, and welcome to A VO's Journey. This show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all of the crazy things that I seem to step on. It's great to be here today. We are definitely doing some different things than we were doing before. I want to welcome everybody over on Instagram. It's good to have you all. We've got Bob, we've got Pat, we've got Brian. Great that you guys joined. Thank you so much. We've got people on YouTube. Flip and Big Jim, thank you guys for coming in. As you might know or might not know, I've had some definite challenges with my software. Well, not software, but the site, the program that I was using to stream across multiple channels. So, I definitely was very frustrated about what was going on because I had, for a long time, as you know, I've streamed on Facebook, I've streamed on YouTube and Twitter, and I've streamed on Instagram, and all this time was going great, and all of a sudden, it's all changed. Facebook apparently came out and did some different things to group streaming so that I could no longer see or reply to comments, and I was very upset about that. So anyways, I made a big decision to stop using that software for the moment and begin to actually just use YouTube and Instagram now as my streams as opposed to Twitter and Facebook. And as I went back and looked, Twitter wasn't that big of a deal, but Facebook definitely is a sad thing to let go because there's definitely so many people watched on Facebook, and it was very sad. But I had to make a decision, and that's what I did. So anyways, moving on to today, what I want to talk about actually is kind of give you a dive into, a personal look into a VO's Journey business. And I thought this would be kind of an interesting thing. There's some things that go on, and usually if you listen to the podcast, I do a lot of reflecting in my podcast and so forth, but I never kind of really do any reflections about things that are particularly happening in my business personally on YouTube. It's more of a constant kind of teaching platform. So I thought that it would be cool to kind of just talk about some things that have gone on within the last couple of days of my business that have been big decisions on my part and some thoughts. And of course, I can't really talk about much unless I'm talking about Fiverr. So some things, big things for me personally happened on Fiverr. And I want to talk to you all about that and, maybe give you some ideas about what's going on with your Fiverr business. So the thing is that numbers for me have been switching around on Fiverr. So let me dive into this whole thing. If you haven't figured out the game yet on Fiverr, the real game is getting impressions. Right, you want to get in front of as many people, and forget Fiverr. I mean, we talk about everywhere. That's your business on YouTube, your business on. Your people watching people are seeing your stuff on YouTube, seeing your stuff on Google, finding you wherever you are. Your goal is to get in front of people, as many people as possible, and Fiverr is no different. So the impressions are probably the most important part of the analytics that you can look at on Fiverr. So with that being said, I constantly look at my own analytics, and some things have been changing recently. The numbers have been happening, been changing around. My main gig that I would get anywhere between 30 to 50 to sometimes 60,000 impressions on a month was going down. And I had, in the last couple of months, I'd added a new gig. Many of you know, some of you have used it. I added a gig to my account that was all about reviews, gig reviews for voice actors. And basically what I would do is you would go on to that gig, order it, and I would go on to your account and your profile through Fiverr, and I would review it and send you a 20 to 30 minute video. So that became actually pretty popular. I ended up doing like 40 or 50 of these, which was wonderful. But something started happening about 2 months ago, and that was a shift in my numbers on Fiverr, impression-wise, started shifting from my main gig over to this gig. So I started getting more and more impressions until finally I was getting like 20,000 impressions on this, voiceover review gig. And then I was only getting about 15 to 18,000 impressions on my main gig. So when I say main gig, I mean usually my gig that's the best seller that I do the most business on. So what I was seeing is that it's like it split the impressions. And now I have other gigs, right? And it was starting to seem to split those impressions between those two. And, I noticed that I was getting less voiceover work, but I was getting more inquiries on the other gig. However, here's the rub. The other gig, the inquiries I was getting were to do video reviews, like for companies and businesses. Like, I'd gotten contacted once to do a beard straightener review, and contacted to do software reviews and all sorts of product reviews. That's because and I can understand why people would get that mixed up. But the thing is that it was in business tips, because I didn't put it in voiceover because of the word uses. I didn't think that was right. It was kind of in an awkward place. So what happened is because of that, I feel like it split everything, right? And because of that, I was getting less business. So I made a really tough decision. I looked across the board and I saw what was going on, and I deleted that gig. Just deleted it. Got rid of it. And the way I look at it is it split, it split, because if you took all those impressions and put them back into my main gig, I would be right back where I was before I added that gig. Now, I want to address the idea that I talk about a lot, and that is for new people getting into Fiverr. I'm a big proponent of getting as many gigs on there as possible. But I'm, seemingly sitting here telling you that I'm trying to do the opposite. And that's because I really believe at different parts of your business and different times of your business on Fiverr, there's different avenues, different paths you need to take. So for me, when you get to a certain point, you get to top rated seller, you begin to be promoted, right? Differently. And it seems to me through my experiences that, they will promote your gigs and the other ones will not be promoted as much. Now, again, this is from my experiences. I don't have any hard evidence to back this up except my own numbers and things I've experienced. So, because of that, as you become a top-rated seller, I often recommend people, when they get further along in their career, to actually start to narrow down their work, okay, in order to boost one of their gigs so that they can get that one higher in the rankings, instead of splitting it. However, before you get to top-rated seller, I completely recommend that you split and do as much as possible to try to find the traffic to go after that main gig. And then whichever one rises to the top, that's the one you ride all the way to the promised land, right? But in this particular case, I went ahead and just deleted the gig. And it's a little scary, to delete 20,000 impressions from your account. But I made that decision. I've made decisions like this in the past on my Fiverr account to make sure I was going in the right direction. And I think for myself, having put my gig up there, that was wonderful. That really helped a lot of people. It was a lot of fun. I definitely got to meet a lot of voice actors, and it was great. I kind of felt that at this point, It was better for me to get rid of that. Now, because of that, it definitely feels, well, I can tell you this, another thing that happens when you go about doing this, because I've done this in the past as well. Before I was a top rated seller, right before, and I was working with Fiverr as, I have my Fiverr consultant or whatever that was helping me get better, become a top rated seller. He told me to, go ahead and get rid of some of your gigs so that you can focus in on one of them to get to top rated seller. So I said, okay. I deleted. Oh no, I'm sorry, that wasn't what he was like. Don't make sure you're not duplicating your gigs, right? And of course, you know me, right? I'm again another big proponent of split testing. So I had done all these things in order to get business, and I was getting traffic on all these different gigs that I had up, but they weren't necessarily centralized into one. So when I did that, when I made the switch right before I became a top rated seller, I deleted about half of my gigs. And I can tell you that when you delete a gig, especially when you have a lot of impressions, not only do your impressions go down from those gigs you deleted, but it's like your whole account resets in a manner and everything kind of drops, right? And then it comes back up, usually with a vengeance. So that was something that happened to me, and it was definitely very scary at that time, but I had to trust the process. And it worked. It ended up working, and it worked wonders, right? And shifted me into the new, into the new path of becoming a top-rated seller and all the work that comes along with that. So now it looks like once again I needed to make a decision about getting rid of some things. And I'm actually looking at doing something else, which is crazy. I'm actually looking at getting rid of my audiobook narration gig. And I know, it's crazy that you're like, what in the world? But the reality is that I find now that with my time set up and everything that's going on, it's too much. Like for example, I had someone contact me last night. I was trying to go to bed. It was like 2 a.m. And someone was like, I want you, we'd love for you to do an audition for an audiobook. And I'm like, listen, I just want to double check that you're okay with my price. And, once I tell them the price now that I charge, they don't want me to audition anymore. So, which is fine, which is why I tell them now, because, my prices are different. But the point is that I realize that with my time schedule, that's something that I don't want, or I don't have a lot of time to do hours and hours of audiobook anymore, which is so funny because as you know, that's where I started and where I came from. But anyways, the point of all of this too is making critical decisions in your business to move forward. I looked at my gigs as well, and that one's not performing. So how does this relate to, how does anything I'm talking to relate to what you're doing? So here, let me give you an example. If you have gigs out there that are not performing well, so I'm looking at, if I look over my gigs, right, I have some that are making, getting lots of impressions, and then there's a few that get very little impressions. Right? You have to start thinking, okay, are those impressions that are getting a little bit of impressions, could they be better? Could I shift them out for something more or something different? And I think it's a good idea to really look critically at that. So I'm actually, for multiple reasons, but I'm looking at doing away with my audiobook gig, which would be something that I've had on Fiverr for years and years, but it's not something that I'm really doing any more work on. I really don't do audiobooks on Fiverr at all anymore. I know a lot of people who are doing a lot of work, a lot of audiobook work on Fiverr, and that's fine. And they're getting great rates. They're getting industry standard rates. I'm just charging way more now for that because, again, of my time and all the work that I'm doing in separate areas. So that's another thing that I'm looking at doing. And of course, today was all about me just talking to you about a personal look inside my voiceover business. Also, something on a side note, besides just Fiverr, I've been getting a lot of work from Voice Jungle, which I'm really liking Voice Jungle and doing a lot of different work, political work. I've been doing all sorts of things. Voice Jungle, again, is a unique platform because you have to be accepted into that platform, and it's a small roster compared to, all these other sites. And it took me over a year to get in there, but now it's nice because they just send me work. I do it. It's very simple example, they directly deposit it into my bank account, not into PayPal, and really nice. It's a really nice site. So I've been doing really well there, but other than that, Voice Jungle and then a Voice Realm has gone really well, and those I have a lot of private clients now that have come in order. So the business itself, the voiceover business itself, is going well. But the idea with all the stuff happening with Fiverr, I just thought I would talk to you guys about it and get your take as well. So if you have any questions or thoughts or comments, I know a bunch of people over here have been kind of saying some things on YouTube, which is so exciting that I can see this. So I know you can't see it, but it's a different setup now than I had before. And it was, if you've been following everything, it's been kind of a mess. And I'm glad to see we got about 28 people watching right now on YouTube. We've got we've had at least 10 people or so, whatever, come through on Instagram, which is really nice. 29 people, because over on the other when we were doing the stream across multiple channels, we were getting around the same amount of people, sometimes up, sometimes into the 40s on Fiverr Friday or something like that. So anyways, let's take a look over here on YouTube. We've got Flip, Big Jim, Jeremy, what's up, my man? Switch, great. Shabazz, good to have you. Beth, great to have you. Richard, live for the third time today. I know, I'm so sorry, everybody, for all the live craziness going on. I really do apologize. Thank you for being so understanding. Let's see. Beth says, I wonder if Facebook will now charge for live group comments, especially for businesses. That's an interesting idea. And by the way, we did Facebook for quite a while, right? And I don't know why there was an issue with it and why they stopped doing group comments, but all of a sudden you can't. They just did away with them, and then the personal stuff too. They started doing away with you being able to reply. And it only went to the public pages that was allowing you to do anything. So I was very disheartened about that. And that was something recently. So, I don't know. Maybe you're right, Beth. It would make sense because they charge for everything else. So let's see. Samir, what's up? Dave G made the live feed. This should be in VR. Do it in your booth with a VR cam. Oh, that's kind of cool. That would be fun. That'd be fun to do it in the booth. I'll have to take a look. So right now, I actually don't have a camera in the booth. I have a camera out here, and I don't have one in the booth, and I need to get one in the booth as well. So I think that would be really cool. I'll work on that, Dave. Let's see. Dave, that would be awesome. Yeah, exactly. Lee, Facebook, sketchy stuff there. Absolutely. Hey, Scott, what's up, my man? Angela. Hello, Angela. What's up? Let's see. Heath is good to see you today. Good to see you, Heath. Wally, what's up, Wally? Is it okay to have one broad gig? And that's what I was talking about. The thing is, Wally, when you're first starting out, that is a challenge to be taking one gig and making it to be where it's making enough money for you to make a wide range on Fiverr. When you're first starting out, that's a challenge because you're competing against people like me, like Red, like all the different top-rated sellers who have been on the platform for years and years. So, it's imperative. I think it's super important to have a broad gig. But when you're just starting out or you're trying to find your niche on there, your crack to fit in, I think it's so important that you add as many gigs as possible so that you actually have some opportunity there to find some more work. Because if you don't, it's going to end up being where you're not going to get a lot of traction with just one for starting off. But as you go along and you become a top-rated seller and you get up that ladder, I think it can be more challenging because you don't want to spread out too much. Because you'll lose, there's definitely some things that you get a lot. Being on the front page, it's a different world. It really is a different world. Being promoted a certain way on Fiverr changes, and I can tell you this from experience that you can go from literally, just brand new customers all the time. You wake up and you've got 10 new orders, 12 new orders, 15 new orders. You didn't do anything to get to not being in that position where you're constantly dealing with spam and customer. Now, there's nothing wrong with customer requests. And that's the way most of us build our business. But I'm telling you that when you get to a certain place, that actually really slows down. And there's a shift to getting, all of your 90% of your business, where people just purchase it from you, as opposed to you having to answer the custom, the messages and the custom order request and the going back and forth on prices. People pay your prices. They don't have any problem with it. Right? They order everything they're supposed to order. There is different worlds on Fiverr, and you want to try to strive to get to that top world. So that's kind of my take on that. But when you're first starting, you don't have that luxury. So have your broad gig, but make sure you have a bunch of others to try to find your way in. And by the way, I know some people who have like almost all of their gigs up, and they do really well. They do fantastic. So remember, being a top-rated seller isn't necessarily the best thing since sliced bread, okay? Because you can make a lot of money without being a top-rated seller. I know a lot of people who are level 2s who make a lot of money, okay? Make a lot of money a month, and they're not top-rated sellers. So you don't have to be that way, you know what I mean, to make money. Good question. Good thought. Let's see. Zach says you can still do reviews for Fiverr gigs, but payment through your website, right? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That, and I'm switching that over to the website. Thank you, Zach. Yes, I'm going to still do the gig reviews because I had such a wonderful outpouring of people looking for that service. So I'm going to add that through my website. So I'll do the same exact thing, except it'll just be through my website at vosjourney.com instead of you purchasing through Fiverr. And we'll all save money. I'll save money. You'll save money. We won't have to pay all the extra stuff that we pay on Fiverr. So let's see. Ben says, made it to page 1 of voiceover on there. Flitting between position 12 and 15. That's great, Ben. Ben, it's a wonderful thing to be on that page. Dave G, no more review gig. Right, and that's why I was saying, Dave, yes, I will be doing that, but it's just not going to be offered on Fiverr. It will be offered through my website, so that's where you can find that. Let's see. Switch says, so you will no longer be doing the gig review. Oh, no, I am. Yes, I am going to be doing it, just not on there. You can go to my site. It'll be one of the options there will be, say, just order a gig review. I'll make it the same price. It's always $50. And for a 20 to 30-minute review of your entire profile, all your gigs and stuff, and you can just purchase that through a VO's Journey as opposed to through Fiverr. Okay, Beth, I agree with the others. Put that offer on your website to promote it through your podcast. Absolutely, thank you. Samir, please offer through your website. Absolutely, guys. Ryan, what up? What up, man? Steve, yep, this is working good. Awesome. Gary, what's up, my man? We've got John says a word you meant thing. I'm glad I was able to get on here. It looks like it's working pretty well. I can see a lot of good information on YouTube, over here on Instagram as well. We've got Kurt saying I update my Fiverr once a week, basically clean up description and make sure it's up to date with fresh demos. Absolutely, and that's super important too, is getting your samples out there. By the way, when you get to top rated seller too, there's other perks. As well. You get paid within 7 days instead of 14 days, which is a huge perk. You also have different options like I have a portfolio option, which I now have like 9 or 10 videos. I uploaded another video today, which I posted in the Facebook group of a voiceover I did for a watch company. But it's really nice because you can have a video portfolio of your work. So for me, I really love that. And people look at it, they view it and they talk to me about it. So that's a really neat thing. But again, it's another perk being a top-rated seller. So there's definitely more perks when you become a top-rated seller. And you can do up to 30 gigs as a top-rated seller. It's so interesting to me. I'm not sure. I think, lots changed on Fiverr, as we know, right? It continues to change. And I do wonder, too, what the criteria moving forward, will continue to be and what will happen. But either way, just, make sure everything you put up there is the absolute best you can make it. Let's see. Alan says, oh, hey, what's up, Alan? Wally says, thank you, much appreciated. Embodied entertainment. Promos are usually for TV series. Do you think a promo demo would be effective in Fiverr? I feel like promo is a different animal when compared to commercial. Absolutely. I really do believe now that there is so much business going through Fiverr that you need to put up Fiverr is going to be there's going to be people accepting business across the board in voiceover on Fiverr. So I don't think that we can no longer say that, promo's not being done, commercial work's not being done, e-learning is not being done. Audiobook work is not being done, character work is not being done. It's all being done, radio work, because I've done all of it. I've done all of those TV. I've done all of them on Fiverr, through Fiverr, and I know lots of people who are getting work. They're being found through Fiverr for these things. So it's all being done there now, and it's getting more and more. Like today, again, I was hired for a really nice job. That was close to $300 for 150 words, and it was again just another commercial. It was a commercial, and I like to do. I like to have buyouts for in perpetuity, meaning that I like to let people buy out my stuff so I don't have to deal with licensing, which perpetuity means for everything, right? For always and everything down the road. So it was a good job today. It wasn't too big, and but it's going to work well for them and for myself. So these are things that are happening a lot on Fiverr. I was talking to another voice actor today who was saying that they were working with a decent sized business who they were going to be the voice of that business now on commercials and things like that. There's so much going through Fiverr, and there's people looking because the reality is Fiverr's promoting these services so much. It's just a matter of time until everyone continues to more people realize how big of a platform and how much talent there is on that platform, right? And by the way, there's another thing too that happens. I don't know if you realize this, but I get contacted frequently from agents, and I'm a weirdo. I don't sign with agents. That's just my personal thing. That doesn't mean it has not, I don't have an opinion on what other people should do. I just like to control my own destiny. So I don't do anything with agents. But I get contacted by talent agents. I get contacted by other people through Fiverr looking for me to come and be on their rosters and so forth. So, people are going to Fiverr left and right because they know so much more talent is going on Fiverr, and there's a lot of work. I've done over 1,600 voiceovers on Fiverr. So, the work is there. The work is there. Let's see. CB says, how long does the bump last after taking a Learn course? How long does it take for the bump to begin? CB, great question. And it depends. It really depends. It depends on how much they're backed up, like with people taking Learn courses, because I've had it happen immediately. I've had it happen after 2 weeks. I've had it happen stretched across multiple gigs or all one gig. You know what I mean? There's no rhyme or reason that they make available to you. But you can, at least to me, I've always been able to see it within 2 weeks, and it usually lasts 1 to 2 weeks. Okay. Big Jim, what's up? How do you deal with folks this is from Dave. How do you deal with folks asking for auditions for a script or a book? Well, like I said, I have started, telling them to my price before I do it, because I found that what I'm charging now, which is I charge closer to about $400 per finished hour now. And I don't do that unless I don't do auditions or anything like that unless they are real about buying from me, because I've had all sorts of, and we all do. We all have there's still some very, there's still people looking for a lot on there for a little. So, it's all depending on your time. So that's what I do. But I can tell you this, I definitely do auditions, because I do auditions on Fiverr and I get work. I mean, just 2 days ago, I did an audition. They came back and bought hundreds of dollars of work from me. So it was well worth me doing the audition. So I've always lived by the idea that I would rather do an audition, them, take my work or whatever and scam me, and then not do an audition and me lose tons of money, lose out on tons of money because I was worried they were going to screw me over somehow. You can be smart about it, meaning like you can do things like, slate your work, add a little bit of, underneath, take out a couple sentences in the middle of your read so that they can't use it. But I always do auditions no matter what, just because I think that's a good way to get work. And plus, a lot of these people are agencies that are coming here for their clients, because that's a lot of things. They want to take your work, show it, let their clients listen to it, and if their client likes it, then they use you, right? So, that's again, more and more people are coming to Fiverr that are not just the businesses themselves, but agencies and other places are using it. Let's see. Dave says, quoted and did a demo for a $25K job the other day that was an initial Fiverr contact. Yeah, absolutely. Ben, what in the world, dude? Let's see. Ryan Whiting. Dave G, I get this from time to time. I generally tell them that my samples are my audition. On a rare occasion, it will provide a small sample depending on the size, cost, or project. Thanks. Yeah, listen, Dave, I'm going to tell you, I'll be straight with you on this one. If you're not doing anything, man, I don't care what comes across your back. Audition for everything. Somebody asks you to do an audition, do it, man, right? Just don't throw it to a side, because you never know when that audition is going to lead to years of work. Right? And it's not just necessarily an audition. It's just they want to listen to how you sound. And that makes complete sense. I'd like to do that too, because that's why they audition. That's why we audition actors. That's why we audition whoever. We should audition employees before we hire them. Whatever we do should be, put through something to where we can get an idea of what they are going to do. So I'm always that person who says, go for it. But like I said, when it comes to the audiobook stuff now, I'm doing a lot less because I charge a lot more and people really aren't paying. Some people do. I do a little bit, but not much at all. So agreed. Doing 3 today, but been scammed before. I hear you. Try that slate option I told you. I mean, cut out a couple sentences in the middle of it or something so that you don't do the whole thing they give you. You know what I'm saying? So that it doesn't, they can't just take it. All right, so let's see. Kurt says over on Instagram, I think it's funny to see people hate on Fiverr, and then I see them on there the next day closing deals. Yeah, that's true. A lot of people, you can only fight where the business is going for so long, right? All right, you guys. Hey, listen, thank you so much. I'm glad that this worked out today. I know that it's a big change from being on Facebook for such a long time. Twitter was great. I never really got a lot of people on Twitter watching, but definitely Facebook was a lot. But we've had a great audience today. We've been in the 30s, so thank you so much. And I'm really excited to be moving forward with this. It seems really well. I'm able to see what's going on, and I'm really excited. So I know today was kind of a personal look into what I was doing, but all I can tell you about what's happening in my business and what you should always look is yours is never be stagnant. You know what I mean? Never just be sitting there, not doing anything, not trying anything. One thing about these websites I found out, the same with Fiverr and all of them, you are not rewarded for doing nothing on the site. I mean, you're not rewarded for just waiting for business to come. You're rewarded for being active on the site and doing as much as you can, uploading samples, adding things. Even if you're refreshing your gig, I don't know if I think Kurt said that. You go in and you refresh your gigs and stuff. That really helps. So, always try to keep your stuff refreshed and working forward to add whatever you can here or there, even if it's a couple of words to your description or it's a new gig. Okay. It's really worth it. So thank you guys so much. I know we ended up talking about Fiverr today, so I can't talk about Fiverr without talking about my incredible group called Fiverr Elite. There's an incredible amount of amazing voice actors in that group. I am blessed to be a part of it with them. And it's called Fiverr Elite Group. We meet every weekend, every Saturday, where we do nothing but talk about growing our businesses. We share data, use that data to grow our businesses. We do reviews and project. I do reviews of demos and gigs, and teach different ways to find business and so forth. So if you're interested in that, check out the link in YouTube here when I'm finished, as well as you can go to avosjourney.com and check that out under the Fiverr Elite. And I will be adding today, I'll add today the way to get your Fiverr gig reviewed on Avio's Journey too. Okay, so be looking for that. All right, you guys, thank you again. I really appreciate it. You have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday, and I will see you tomorrow for ACX Thursday. Come with your questions, thoughts, and comments. I'm looking forward to it. All right, goodbye. See you later. Goodbye.